run and drive 'em home. Spears be ready, brothers bold, silver in the sun worth more than gold.
I knew it was a matter of time until Ubisoft jumped on the bandwagon, and I gotta say, this has gotta be one of the worst, if not the worst trends in gaming that has become popularized in recent time. And it really pains me to even be making this video because I love Black Flag. It holds a special place in my heart and is in my top favorite Assassin's Creed games of all time. And of course, I don't think it's a masterpiece. That would be delusional. If every game were a masterpiece, no game would be a masterpiece. That term has lost all meaning. Thanks to normies and shill reviewers, the moment this game was announced, I had a feeling it would be a butchering of a beloved game from what used to be a great franchise. I could talk for hours on how Assassin's Creed has fallen, but I feel like I'd be beating a dead horse, and I'd just be spoon-feeding the people that already agree with me and are actual fans of the franchise. Not that I consider myself a fan anymore. And man, is it depressing how many low IQ individuals tolerate this game's existence, trying to gaslight you into believing people were asking for a remake. Who was asking for a remake of this game? I have never once heard anybody ask for a Black Flag remake. This makes me concerned due to the rapid climb in the use of bots in comment sections. And I've seen this everywhere. I don't believe these are real people, and just glancing at the original game, it still holds up very well. I cannot believe I'm seeing people claim this game looks dated. Just say you hate the game. The original game has an art style. The remake just looks like some sanitized corporate slop with realistic visuals that has none of the flair or soul of the original game. I could say it a million times, I don't care if a game looks realistic. It's just easier to forget about it and move on. It's trying too hard to fit in instead of standing out. Could you imagine if Jack and Daxter had a realistic art style? Who would play that? But I'm getting ahead of myself, and this intro is starting to get way too long. If you did not play the original game, your opinion is worthless. Take your ego elsewhere. You are not welcome here. I have 100%ed the original game, beaten it multiple times, and just beat it recently. And for all the tourists begging for a remake of a game you never played, you were never a fan, period. Feel free to take that personally, I really don't care. I don't even know where to start because I'm boiling with anger, realizing this is the reality I'm living in. I just know the person in charge of developing this game is an idiot. Why does humanity continue to allow morons to be in power? Instead of making a brand new game, I'm gonna copy the guys who did it better, and I'm not gonna improve on anything that actually matters. If you couldn't tell, I don't like this game. Black Flag is the greatest pirate game ever made. It did not need to be remade. Why must real gamers be poisoned with an unoriginal half-baked cash grab to appeal to the modern audience of normies and women who don't even play video games? Do these people ever learn? And no doubt some smug redditor is shaking his head in denial of my complaints. Yeah, why criticize anything? Just consume the product, right, midwit? The art style is such a downgrade, it's impossible to ignore. So I'll start with that. And holy chat GPT, this looks bad. I'm being serious. If you think this looks good, are you a human? As much as I see lefties complaining about AI, I've yet to see anyone complaining about this bland, obviously AI generated art style. I mean, it just looks uncanny. The world doesn't even feel like a real place anymore. It's like some alternate dimension. What were they thinking? The water is way too bright, and pretty much everything in the game is, but the water is hands down the worst. They just turned the saturation all the way up and it shows. Everything just looks perfect, and no, I don't mean that in a good way. If you walked aboard a pirate ship, would you expect it to look nice and smooth and clean? I would hope not. With a crystal clear blue water, it legit looks like someone took blue dye and poured it into the water. It looks so horrendous. How are people defending this? I can't believe people are using the excuse that it takes place in the Caribbean. I don't care, man. This looks retarded. And I cannot actually, well, I guess I can believe I'm about to say that the lighting makes everything look cinematic. Am I playing a movie or a video game? And I know the so-called fans are happy with this new cinematic look, but personally I hate it. And I know they think this because I saw morons glazing this game talking about how it looks just like the CGI trailer from 2013. I hate gamers so much. Why do game devs want every game to be a movie? The Last of Us' success is truly a plague on gaming. It's not even like they're taking the good aspects of these games. They're taking the worst parts. Resynced just looks cheap compared to the original. How is it possible that a game from over a decade ago looks better than the remake? in most AAA games that come out now. It just goes to show you that the talent has left the industry and we were left with untalented hacks and diversity hires making our toys. A fantastic example, all of the Arkham games look better than this. While the games didn't go for a real life look, it still looks realistic, but they decided to give each game a comic book likeness, and every game aged like wine. Another perfect example is BioShock, a game that came out in 2007. Need I say any more? But no, this game looks amazing. I'm just being a negative Nancy. Who cares? Don't think for yourself. Agree with the majority. Free will is a myth. Much like the Ratchet and Clank games, this game feels like the soul has just been drained from it. The original game had this rough grittiness to it. This has none of that. Just dumbed down generic Unreal Engine slop. And while this is off topic, I hate Origins, and not just because of the graphics. I think it's worse than Odyssey as well, not that I have anything positive to say about that either, but it is better. And going back to my main point, this game looks bad too. How does a game from 2013 look better than this? Shouldn't this be a visual improvement? This isn't even embarrassing anymore, but heartbreaking. Older games are aging better than new games, yet gaming is better than ever, says the tourist. Why did God allow these people freedom of choice? And call me crazy if you want to, but it's oddly suspicious how after the failure of Skull and Bones, Ubisoft thought one of their next big games they should release should be a pirate game, almost like they took the skeleton of Skull and Bones, built upon it, and called it Assassin's Creed Black Flag. But no, Ubisoft wouldn't do that. No, who would ever do something like that? I don't know. The decisions Ubisoft has been making lately really have me questioning how they haven't gone out of business by now. Assassin's Creed Shadows flopped, an Assassin's Creed game set in Japan, a setting longtime fans have been asking for years, and they failed to appease the fans. Instead, they'd rather cater to the minority of Twitter snowflakes and extremists who once again do not care about video games, but only when said game agrees with their delusional worldview. Speaking of worldview, this game has got to be the most annoying I have ever had to deal with. When it comes to graphical setting, I have never had so many issues with any game when it comes to performance and recording gameplay. I thought my footage wasn't capturing correctly, or that OBS was experiencing some sort of bug, because whenever I watched through my footage, the gameplay looked very low resolution, and I still find myself questioning if this issue prevails, and if so, why. I believe it is on Ubisoft's end because I have a very powerful PC and noticed nothing wrong with OBS, and I guess I'm not alone on this issue because people were having the same issue and reported it to others on Twitter with the fix. It's something to do with the in-game resolution not matching up properly with DLSS. I don't know all the details, but that's basically the main point. And I also didn't know if I should record with HDR on or off because that also seemed to affect the visual output. I don't know what's wrong with Ubisoft. I almost preferred playing with it off because HDR looks way too dark, but without HDR, everything looks kind of washed out. But I did find a fix for this issue. I just used HDR with color correction on. Even with HDR on, I still had some issues with the colors not displaying properly in the recording, but all was well once I enabled the color correction. Out of every modern game I've played, this one had the most issues performance wise, and last but certainly not least, ray tracing made the game run even worse. I got stuttering pretty consistently, but not to the unplayable degree. Sometimes I noticed frame drops here and there, and my resolution would sometimes suffer and screen tearing, and recently I haven't noticed these issues, so either Ubisoft patched something or I messed something up on my end, but it's most likely Ubisoft. But I've been running this game maxed out since, and it's been running a lot better, so good chance I had no hand in this issue. I'm saving the story and other side activities such as the Templar key quests for last since I find those to be most interesting, so why not talk about one of the few upgrades, that being the exploration. I cannot believe I'm even saying this about an Assassin's Creed game, but they actually gave you a reason to explore. And the reason I say upgrade is because you are now allowed to freely dive wherever you please. No need for the diving bell. I'm starting to wonder why the diving bell is even necessary now, that you can dive to your heart's content. And while at a glance the underwater does look gorgeous, once again I must take back some of my praise. It is way too colorful. Yeah, I know it's the Caribbean, but you think during the era of pirates, these waters would be a pearly blue paradise? Yeah, I find that hard to believe. Not to say the water was completely filthy, but this is unrealistically so. Come on, man. How could anyone look at this and think this is an improvement? And yeah, it is still pretty empty, but it is a nice change, I will say that. You would think that the Ego Vision would be better, but not really. When underwater, you're either left staring at nothing but black and white, or if in certain areas, stuck looking at nothing but darkness. Eagle vision is best used for out of the water, and even then it's pretty useless. Why would you not just use L2 to look around and find what you're looking for? The only time eagle vision was of any use to me is when searching for nearby enemies. I'm just glad they didn't pull an AC Odyssey and make you literally have eagle vision. How stupid was that? They removed one of the main points of what made eagle vision so helpful, such as locating certain items, and while it can still be used, it's less necessary, especially when the stealth has been significantly reduced in difficulty as well as importance. Also notice there's no minimap in the corner anymore, which is something I'm not a huge fan of. The overhead map is not very useful to me, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who prefers the old minimap. I ended up pausing my game more to look at the map in its entirety rather than using the overhead map. This map made me stop playing the game and search for my next location instead of continuing on my path by using the corner minimap that has been replaced by some item compass in the corner, because this was definitely a better change. We definitely needed this. Thank you so much, Ubisoft. You only make things better. That's not sarcasm, I promise. This shouldn't even exist. I said I was going to be positive, but that did not last so long, so I'll end this point with a positive change. Overall Resynced allows you to go pretty much wherever you want from the beginning of the game. The original game was much more restrictive until you reached a certain point in the story, and the game sort of trapped you and you were not allowed to go beyond a certain point. Can't even say anything bad about that. This is a change I actually prefer. And what can I say? I'm just giving my honest opinion, whether people like it or not. I've seen far too much praise for this mediocre mess of a remake. Probably the most unneeded remake of all time. Why did they make this? There are far less collectibles sprinkled around the map. Unless my eyes deceive me, I think Ubisoft intentionally did this to give players a reason to 100% the game. I would know because I have 100%ed Black Flag, and it was a pain going to an island, stopping my ship, jumping off, swimming to the shore, scaling a building, or collecting one chest, and then leaving, and having to do that dozens of times. I can't exactly say that's fun. Or completing the naval missions, which honestly was pretty repetitive and not in a good way. The ship combat in Black Flag was fun because you wanted to do it. The naval missions just took the fun away from brigading a ship in cannonballs and mortars. I can't really put it into words why I feel this way, but I just didn't really like the naval contracts. And the final positive thing I can say about the exploration is the auto-pathing, at least when you're on your way to another island. On land, it sucks. It's very easy for Edward to get stuck on something, but the autopathing for ship traversal is quite nice when you don't feel like sailing long distances. Once you unlock more fast travel points, this will most likely be used a lot less. I don't really have much use for it anymore since I've expanded my territory throughout most of the seas now. It doesn't surprise me that Ubisoft included this feature in Resync, considering it's been in Origins and Odyssey as well. And I can't really complain too much about this either. It's a great time saver. But there is a chance you crash your ship into another, so do be careful using this feature. Wouldn't want to anger the Brits and get shanked to death. So what's next on the menu? I'm sure you're asking yourself. Well, that would be one of the most important aspects of the gameplay. Wouldn't be the same without it. Parkour, and oh my goodness, I cannot believe people are defending this. Downgrade is not even the right word to use. The decay, degradation, decomposition of this parkour is like no other. Black Flag had some of the most satisfying climbing I've ever seen in any video game, and they ruined it. How is it so bad? The biggest change is Edward's movement animations and speed. He feels so slow and sluggish now. His response to your inputs almost feel delayed, or sometimes he doesn't respond in the way you want him to, if at all. In the original game, the movement was smooth as butter, and he was agile. Quick turns for evading enemies and continuous running after a full speed assassination. Not this slow recovery where he just stands still for a second, then you're allowed to keep moving. Who designed this? It's so inconsistent. Was this on purpose? So much of this game just feels slower. This is supposed to be a fast-paced game, yet the speed has been toned down drastically. Remember the sea shanties that you had to collect if you wanted your crew to sing a certain song? Chasing those down in the original was a bit of a challenge because you had to be fast, but it wasn't hard because the parkour sucked. You just had to make sure you stayed on top of the shanty, or else you're gonna have to chase it down again. In Resync, the shanties move slower in response to Edward's slower pace, and once the shanty has reached its destination, it sits there for a few seconds until the player gets to it. In the original game, if it reaches its destination, it just disappears immediately. You could argue this is better, but in my eyes, it's a bit of a downgrade considering how much worse the parkour has become. Intentionally making the shanty just sit there for a second because they know the parkour sucks and you're not going to be as quick to get to it as compared to the original game. And when climbing up a certain building, sometimes Edward will just jump directly to the ledge, compared to the original game where he kicks his feet up the wall and grabs hold of a ledge and climbs like a normal person. It's much easier to get stuck on walls or ledges, sidewalks, etc. And yes, this has always been an issue in Assassin's Creed, but this is by far the worst. I legit hate climbing in this game, and it is basically impossible to die from fall damage so long as you spam the roll button before you hit the ground. I can't count the number of times I just jumped off from a high point and rolled last second and took no damage. The climbing in the AC games has become so much more simplified over the years. It was somewhat like a puzzle, trying to figure out which direction to go next. Now you can just climb straight up every building, removing the smallest bit of challenge from the climbing. You know, one of the main appeals of the franchise. It's pretty clear they tried to mimic the climbing from the new games like Shadows and Mirage, but it feels a little more polished compared to both of those games. The climbing feels very snappy, like Edward's hands are made of magnets and way too floaty. I despise the parkour, one of the biggest downgrades in the game. Anyone saying otherwise is a liar or they haven't played the game. The parkour in 2013 feels much more grounded and fun. This is just some cheap, well, not imitation because it clearly isn't copying from the original game. And then the UI, I'm trying my best to keep my cool because I find no good reason for them to have changed this, let alone remade this game. This UI is horrible, man. What were they thinking? I blame Destiny for this, and of course this isn't the first game to adopt this stale looking slop. Origins, Odyssey, Valhalla, Mirage, and Shadows. And if we aren't just talking Assassin's Creed, God of War has adopted this. God of War. Why? This is so lazy. Like, I'm at the point where I don't care how ridiculous it looks, so long as it isn't some lazy copy-paste garbage. Who is telling these people to make it look like this? It's soulless. Stop trying to be like everyone else. Even the main menu has this corporate sanitized look to it. I wonder how many women worked on this game. Actually, let's go ahead and ask ChatGPT. Okay, well, I couldn't find an actual number. Here's the response it gave to me, and I'm not too surprised. And if we take a quick look at the reveal video of Resync, there seems to be a decent amount of women that were working on this game. Now, could that be a reason for why so many things have been changed for the worst? I can't say for sure, and let's hope not. Wouldn't want to upset any sensitive women LARPing as gamers on Twitter, which is totally not for farming engagement and male attention on the internet. Now, who would do such a thing? Who? I don't know. I don't think anybody would do that. On some level, I was looking forward to this game. Not high hopes, just hopes that they would at least get most things right. And while the game is mostly faithful, there are so many things wrong with this game, and I'm not even close to getting my frustrations out with this game. I will never understand why deep throating exists for video games, in particular remakes. Going back to the lifeless UI, if we take a good look at the gear, swords and guns, now we have perks. Why does Ubisoft continue to do this nonsense? There is no need for this. And now Edward can equip charms, making this game even easier for all the drill pan users. Crafting is essentially the same except for one small change. You can no longer one-shot animals. Assassinations will do, but the pistols can no longer get the job done in one shot. Some animals still die in one shot though, and if you get into an encounter with a wild beast, it becomes a souls fight instead of just counter killing it instantly like in the original game. And the change I doubt most people will bring up is when you skin animals now, Edward does not actually skin them. He just stabs them and leaves the corpse covered in blood. While once again, compared to the superior version, you can see the skin and bones once he's complete. This just reminds me of vegans complaining about hunters killing animals, calling them horrible people, when in reality, a horrible person would just let the animal die and not use all of its meat, skin, and maybe even the bones. The whole reason I bring this up is because I'm sure the people working at Ubisoft are a bunch of leftists who would never kill an innocent animal for any reason. Now we should just let them overpopulate and destroy the environment. There needs to be some sort of balance, and this is their way of fighting back by not showing Edward brutally skinning animals that are already dead, using every part of his lifeless corpse instead of letting it waste away, dying in vain. One of many subtle changes I doubt most reviewers will ever bring up. And for the view, I hate the camera so much. More cinematic garbage. Sony only ever popularizes things in gaming that genuinely make games worse. Even with the FOV maxed out, I still found myself getting hits in combat due to the camera being too zoomed in. I am not watching a movie, I'm playing a game. Why do they insist on this garbage camera angle? It's not as bad as The Last of Us, but it still makes the game harder to play. As for facial animations, a lot of the characters have a hard time portraying their emotions in their face. Edward being the worst amongst everyone, considering he's on screen most of the time and is always smiling. I'm sorry, but I find it hard to believe that a pirate would constantly be cheesing 80% of the time. How do you expect me to take moments seriously when he constantly has this smug grin on his face? Unbelievable. I'm sure plenty of people would find a smiling pirate very intimidating. And speaking of faces, Edward does not look like Edward anymore. I would actually argue that this isn't even the same character anymore. The amount of eyeliner for one, he looks like an emo rock star now. What were they going for? His hair looks way too silky. Compared to the original game, it was much more rough and weathered looking, cause he's out at sea. No way he would have luscious hair. Women no doubt worked on his appearance, as well as other characters' appearances. His jaw is much larger and his lips are way too big. He even looks much older compared to 2013 as well. I don't see this as an upgrade at all. And Edward is not the only one I have a problem with. Anne might actually be the worst amongst everyone. Why is her face so round? She looks like she gained like 30 pounds. I take back my previous statements. She looks so much worse. Without a comparison image, you would probably think she looks normal. No, she looks awful. Open your eyes. And Mary is also a huge letdown as well. She already had a very strong jawline. Say what you will about that. You can say I'm exaggerating, but she looks 50 now. I hate Ubisoft so much. You expect me to believe a woman who appears to be 50 or older is able to use her feminine charm to fool guards. Yeah, I'm not buying it. I'm just not. They even gave her the crimson chin. Ubisoft definitely made her look more masculine, which is funny considering her role in the story. And this in particular irritates me because I'm sure some pink-haired liberal unironically believes Mary is trans. So they took it upon themselves to make some changes. Adewale looks worse. Why is he so pale now? He looks like he needs some lotion. Was he bitten by a vampire? Why does his skin look like that? Aside from the extra eyeliner, the rest of Edward's friends look mostly the same. They look a bit zesty, but I can't ignore that. Blackbeard seems to have the least amount of changes to him. Roberts, Torres, and Rogers look worse as well. Roberts just not really looking like Roberts as much anymore. Torres' face just looks uncanny. And same with Roger. Why didn't Ubisoft just copy and paste the character models and just make small changes to them that make them fit this game? I don't consider any of the new looks of any of the characters I just mentioned to be an improvement. I think they tried to make the characters look more realistic, and to me it just makes them feel less human. I like the new radio style music selection. In the original game you had no option when it came to selecting the shanties you wanted your crew to sing. Now you can play whatever you want, whenever you want. A nice improvement. In contrast, an issue I've had a problem with is the lighting. This ties in with my issues with the HDR in this game. Whenever it became nighttime, everything would look too dark. And when it rains, it makes it nearly impossible to see. And that's another thing, it rains far too much. Like every 20 minutes, it's raining. It got to a point when I didn't want to sail when there's a storm. And it made storms more annoying. Now your ship can get struck by lightning. Is it more realistic? Sure. Is it more fun? No, it's not. And that brings me to my next point. Steering your ship feels much slower and requires you to turn ahead of time for tight turns or maneuvering away from the enemy's attacks. I had the most issues with the ship's maneuverability when it came to the fort defenses, but yeah, that was irritating because of the much slower jackdaw. And once you buy the mortars, it becomes basically a cakewalk. They melt pretty much everything. But that doesn't mean the ship combat is easier. I actually think it's more difficult than 2013. In the beginning of the game, when you get your ship, I felt like I was doing no damage. And you were heavily encouraged to upgrade your ship, and I took every opportunity to do so. And in my eyes, I like the changes made for ship upgrade, pretty much allowing more freedom similar to the open world, allowing the player to upgrade freely whenever you like instead of waiting for a certain mission to be completed in order to further improve the Jackdaw. There's even a mission you can choose to do if you don't want to pay 5,000 reals for the diving bell. I'm actually shocked that Ubisoft added this, so if you're trying to save some coin, you can just go steal the diving bell from a camp of pirates around the island. Now, this doesn't mean you are completely free to upgrade everything at once. You still have to go all around the map and find all of the ship blueprints, which is very annoying, but it's very similar to the original game, so don't have any complaints about this. It's just irritating. One of the new characters you end up meeting, Lucy Baldwin, is a very important part of the crew if you hate taking damage, because once you recruit her after finishing her questline, every time you brace, you take little to no damage, and I gotta say, it's pretty broken. Now, why would Edward go out of his way to get a female shipwright instead of a man who could do the job 10 times better? Who knows? I don't know. But I'll save her character analysis for later. The amount of reals you can receive through managing your fleet feels reduced. By now, I would have been rolling in coin. I dislike this change. Although you are shown how much damage your ships could potentially take if you decide to let them go on their journey, but compared to 2013, it just shows the risk level, and you could take out certain threats to reduce said risk, making the voyage safer, increasing the odds of success. And since I'm on the topic of money, I guess it's only fair I bring up this little infinite money glitch you could do in the OG. You could only do this during the mission when Edward is still LARPing as Duncan Walpole. You meet with the Templars as they stand around this table examining some map, and you pickpocket them and then just reload the last checkpoint and repeat until you're satisfied with the result. It does cap at a certain amount. I think it's 100k, so if you go over that, I think it resets you. But I'm not sure if Resynced has anything similar, but I just thought I should bring this up. As for bugs, I just encountered a maybe not game breaking, but it makes it impossible to continue playing the game. So I guess it is game breaking. When Edward is moving at all and decides to jump, whether you are climbing or not, the game just stutters for a moment, and it's very annoying to deal with. I have no clue on how an update completely ruined such an important part of the gameplay loop, but I legit could not play. Ubisoft needs to get it together, and I'm not the only one. Plenty of other people were complaining about this as well. There is no way I was ignoring this issue. I think it has something to do with whether or not you have an Intel CPU. And luckily for me, I do, so I just decided to go back to the original game for the time being. And I was having a much better time with the original ship combat, which feels smooth, and I felt much more powerful blowing away brigs and frigates with ease. I can say the same for the on-the-ground combat. It's so fluid and responsive. That's one of the biggest flaws with Resync. The combat, both naval and ground, are clunky. Some of the animations look stitched together, like when you go in for a takedown, it looks like Edward is walking on a set path to complete the kill animation. While in the OG it felt more in the moment, not as robotic looking. They brought back health bars, and I thought they said those wouldn't be in the game. The combat feels like a mix of the old AC and the RPGs. It has somewhat of a chain kill feature, but not really. Takedowns take the place of chain kills, and depending on the swords you have equipped, you can do a certain amount of takedowns, 2 to 3 from the swords I have locked, and I don't have any reason to buy any weapons from the shop when I was given some of the best swords and guns in the game just from having purchased the deluxe version of the game, or I guess Ubisoft Plus, which includes the deluxe items, giving me no reason to ever buy any weapons from the shop. Why would I? In Brotherhood, I bought new weapons all the time, and it felt like an actual upgrade. What's even the point in the shops? Unless you want to collect every weapon in the game, there's no reason to go out of your way to buy new weapons, whether it's swords or pistols. Back to my main point, combat is worse. You can no longer fight with the hidden blades in combat anymore. They're now just for assassinations, similar to the RPGs and AC Unity. As much as I hate the RPGs, Unity started this trend. The assassins did not only use their blades for stealth. Has Ubisoft forgotten how cool the hidden blade combat is? Some of the coolest kill animations have been cut from this game because of that. Now we are left with these over-the-top animations, and no, they do not look cool, they look ridiculous. Even some of the reused ones just look wrong. You can no longer counter kill with the rope dart, hidden blades, or pistols anymore. Why would they remove this? And I almost forgot to mention you can no longer hang people with the rope dart by snatching them up, jumping off a tree branch, slamming into the ground, and snapping the enemy's neck. I guess that was too brutal. Ubisoft clearly hates fun. The stealth is for babies now. It is actually hilarious how much easier stealth has become. An enemy can stare at you for 3 seconds straight and will not engage in combat. The AI is idiotic now more than it's ever been. Such an embarrassment. Healing items are a thing now, what we were all asking for. The rope dart has a cooldown. You can kick and leg sweep enemies, and that's fine and all, but the flashiness is gone. It used to be so fun watching Edward pull off all these insane combos. Now it's so bland. You can't even disarm enemies anymore, which also means you can't do fist combat unless the game forces you to. People will swear these changes make the game better. Please tell me how. Removing all of these improves the game. I'm trying my hardest to be objective. I went into this wanting to like it, and I sorta do. But I can't say I'm disappointed because I never had any expectations to begin with. How could I? This is Ubisoft. There are times when Edward speaks and I question if voice lines were taken directly from the original game or if AI was used, because his voice sounds so robotic now.
I'll show you.
His voice doesn't sound right at times, and he doesn't deliver lines with confidence and soul like Edward from 2013.
Your name's not James, is it?
Not most days.
Edward was the only one I had an issue with as far as voice acting quality. If we're talking cringe, Lucy Baldwin takes the cake.
You tell anyone you saw me cry, and I'll bury you next to that fucking barrister.
Not a word.
I'd say I've stalled long enough. On the story/character analysis, I noticed some very small changes within the main story and side activities, like the flamboyant Spaniard who has taken over as the person sending you out on naval contracts. Any way they can, they will add propaganda. Continuing on, the Templar key quests, while mostly the same, I sure noticed some changes to the dialogue and Edward's behavior. When Edward interacted with the targets, he seemed far less irritated and less irrational. The whole reason he was helping them to begin with was for his own selfish reasons. Yet his selfishness does not bleed through the screen as the old Edward did. He did not care if they lived or died. He just wanted the key. As did Resynced, but it feels less authentic. In a way, this kind of ruins his character, not really behaving like the greedy pirate he is. When Edward greeted Rona in 2013, he lacked sympathy while explaining to her why she's being attacked in the first place. Edward only explains why so he can further his goal of obtaining all of the keys. Same with Anto, yet he was far less patient with him and becomes a bit hostile due to his impatience. He even refused him in the beginning, but reluctantly accepted his offer, and believe it or not, his character actually develops a bit during Anto's questline, causing Edward to put his motives aside and genuinely help him. On some level, he had this ignorant charm to him. His lack of patience revealed more of his personality, and it shows that he's human and has flaws. Resynced just does this, but much worse.
It's Rona, right?
Kenway, looking for trouble, I assume.
So you haven't lost your charm.
And you're still boozy as a swilter. What do you want?
I've come to warn you. Your life's in danger.
Aren't you the crafty one? Whatever gave it away?
Possibly I had a hand in selling a sensitive document to one of those Templar chaps you're so fond of.
Congratulations, your mission was a success.
How can I make amends?
You sober enough for target practice?
Anything for a lady.
Help me kill these men.
It's Rona, right?
Kenway, looking for trouble, I assume.
So you haven't lost your charm.
And you're still boozy as a swilter. What do you want?
I've come to warn you. Your life's in danger.
Aren't you the crafty one? Whatever gave it away?
Possibly I had a hand in selling a sensitive document to one of those Templar chaps you're so fond of.
Congratulations, your mission was a success.
How can I make amends?
You sober enough for target practice?
Anything for a lady.
Help me kill these men!
As it happens, I could use a man to help free some of my friends.
Slaves, you mean?
Brothers, warriors, the hope of the Maroon.
Doesn't sound like my business, mate.
All I need is for you to mingle with your countrymen. Listen to hints for where my friends are held.
Fine. I'll see what I can do.
What do you want, Englishman?
Edward Kenway. I'm here to warn you of danger. And I'm Welsh.
You all look the same to me. Why should I need your warning? My life is all danger.
I may have brought it on you.
This means you owe me. As it happens, I could use a man to help free some of my friends.
Slaves, you mean?
Brothers, warriors, the hope of the Maroon.
Doesn't sound like my business, mate.
All I need is for you to mingle with your countrymen. Listen to hints for where my friends are held.
Fine. I'll see what I can do.
You returned. Have you brought your conscience?
I want my key.
Patience is a virtue. You returned. Have you brought your conscience?
I want my key.
Patience is a virtue. Edward, I am glad you showed up when you did. I'm sorry I have no key to give you, but...
No, the key can wait. Whoever did this, I want to teach them a lesson.
Edward, I am glad you showed up when you did. I'm sorry I have no key to give you, but...
No, the key can wait. Whoever did this, I want to teach them a lesson.
The only upgrade to these quests is that you can do all of the key quests from the moment you're free to explore the open world. Aside from that, the original game just does it better. No one should be surprised by this. As for the new characters, the Padre is not interesting at all. I considered not even talking about this guy, so I'll make this quick. You meet some newborn Christian on a remote island and attempt to recruit him to your ship as the Jackdaw's master at arms, whatever that is. You help him out and avenge his village that was attacked by Ducas's men, and I'm surprised Ubisoft didn't mock Christianity in this game. Like another game nobody bought. I tried to care, he's just boring. As for Deadman Smith, he's not that interesting either. Ubisoft did not put much effort into establishing these new characters. Smith is found among a Spanish ship, locked inside of a wooden box, or I guess you could call it a coffin since he was nearly dead. When Edward and his crew found him, you help him enact his revenge on the man that trapped him in the box. He shoots the man in the knee and traps him inside of a box, and returns to his home island to find his wife is long gone. Smith wasn't very interesting to me either. Very boring backstory and dry personality. Out of the three new officers, Lucy is the only one with a somewhat fascinating backstory, and she is the most likable, which isn't saying much, because she's very annoying and cringe. The relationship between her and Edward feels like some forced big brother, little sister type, and I don't like it. Lucy is rescued by Edward after having found her captive in a military ship. She nearly refuses his help, which makes no sense, while at the same time, he is a stranger. But what choice does she really have? She joins but doesn't fully join the crew until she enacts her revenge on her father for murdering her grandfather, who loved his golden pistols more than her. You sail to her home island and discover the will, which originally had Lucy's name, attached to her grandfather's fortune. But her father changed it to have her completely left out of it. Lucy finds her father, gun drawn, and confronts him.
You remember this place, Papa? I remember every fucking inch.
I remember your mother letting you out. She was always too soft on you.
Shut up! I know you killed Granddad, and then stitched me up for it.
You know nothing, girl.
But you're only his son-in-law, aren't you? You won't get anything in the will.
Is that what you think, you little harpy? I get all of it. The will's changed, and he can't change it back now, can he?
It was you! Admit it! You killed him! Say it! Say it!
Who do you think you are?
I'm the one with the gun, Papa.
A well-deserved death, I must say. And of course this still isn't good enough. She then tells Edward how her mother was poisoned to death due to her infamous grandfather, and for some reason gifts her grandfather's golden pistols to Edward, track down the barrister who killed her mother, and find a necklace that was stolen from her with a letter she left to Lucy. So the moral of the story is men value wealth over women. Not a bad message actually. Lucy doesn't change at all, basically the same throughout her entire questline, only caring for revenge and nothing else. She curses too much and has Reddit dialogue. She's the best new character introduced. As for Bernard, he's a butler who used to be an ex-assassin who asks Edward to restore the art collection that was lost. That's it. Shallow as he is, I still kind of like him. And while not a new character, we got a new mission that unveils how Stede Bonnet died, and I don't think this was necessary at all. I think the emotional depth of learning of his death at the end of the original game hits harder than the game flat out telling you. They even gave Bonnet and Blackbeard shanties. Honestly, Blackbeard's is pretty good, I can't lie.
Blackbeard scared even pirates bold. He took their ships and he took their gold. Burn, Blackbeard, fear. Burn, burn, oh fear not burn. It's fear my hope, oh fear my hope. Disappear and then return. Burn, Blackbeard, fear.
There's also a quest line to avenge Blackbeard and steal back his gold. And no, I don't think this should exist either. This removes the growth Edward makes as a character, regressing back to the greedy old pirate he once was. Seeking out wealth and revenge makes no sense. Mary's death meant nothing to him, I guess. On that note, I finally bring myself to the main story. This is gonna be something. The story feels a lot shorter compared to the original game, which is strange because I don't think anything was cut from the game. I feel like summarizing the story would be pointless since the story is essentially the same. So I'll be tackling the things I like the least, and there's quite a bit. When Edward and Bonnet arrive at Havana, Bonnet's sugar is taken from him by the guards. Edward goes to retrieve his maps, and Ubisoft made sure the camera was in view of the words raw sugar on the crates, or else the players wouldn't know what Edward was looking at. They somehow enabled yellow paint, but for cutscenes. This is just annoying. Like, this is how you know they think absolutely nothing of you. They just think you're stupid. That's why they did this. Another thing I dislike is this sketch you can look at of Roberts. Looks like it was drawn by an amateur. This looks so bad. How did this get greenlit? When Edward goes to capture Roberts, there's a mini-boss battle. Why did they do this? Edward couldn't just tackle him and bring him back. This adds nothing. I don't care if it was easy or not, this is just unnecessary. And the look he gets after he received payment from Torres used to be so much more sinister looking. Now he's, I don't even know. It's not the same "I got one over on you" expression. And the worst cutscene in the game, Edward giving his wife hot chocolate. You gotta be kidding. I'm telling you, they tried to make him more likable, but he's not supposed to be. Edward is not a good guy. He's a pirate. I understand they're trying to show you he used to be a good man before he set sail, but this just makes him look like he's sucking up to his wife. He doesn't even look happy about it either. There is no emotion at all. They could have cut this and nothing of value would have been lost. I feel like I could say that about most of the dialogue in this game. It lost its soul and charm. Edward's character feels more bland and generic now, even though he says the same things as he once did. Mary no longer winks at Edward after making a fake threat to him about revealing her true identity. Why? I don't know. Small things can make a memorable moment. I guess Ubisoft just doesn't care. This is actually depressing. And why did they make this again? Oh right, because they're on their last leg. The crocodile that grabs the guard is impossible to miss now since the camera forces itself to that location. Vane no longer knocks out the guy, he just straight up kills him. And Mary's death wasn't changed, but the depth of the scene feels worthless now because of the new Blackbeard questline. This is soulless. I can't even explain it. I just didn't feel anything during this. And that's the entire game. Yes, it's faithful to the original game, but it still doesn't come close to what Black Flag is. In the original game, I could connect with the characters and they felt genuine and real. The remake is trying to copy that, and it doesn't work as well. I just need to know the reason behind these remakes. They will never live up to the original game. And deep down, I know the developers believe that, maybe not the players. There's no way it's just about the money. I love Black Flag. No matter how hard the remake tries to erase the original, I won't forget about it. And this doesn't just go for this game. This is every remake that has and will come out. Ocarina of Time is getting a remake. Another one. Why is it one of the most beloved, highly rated games of all time is being remade for a second time? If you truly consider that game perfect, or insert your favorite game, doesn't have to be that game, why would you want it to be changed?
Don't die on my account. Go.
This is such a pain in the ass. Damn it. You should have been the one to outlast me.
I've done my part. Will you?